Hey there, and welcome. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the whole world of artificial intelligence. It's a space that's just packed with jargon and acronyms, but I promise by the end of this, you'll have a super clear picture of how all these pieces actually fit together. All right, let's just dive right in. So, you've probably seen these terms flying around everywhere. LLMs, RAG, reinforcement learning, AI bias. It can seriously feel like an alphabet soup that's designed just to be confusing. But don't you worry. We're going to break this incredible technology down piece by piece. We're going to build a solid understanding of not just what these things are, but how they all connect to create the AI that you and I are using every single day. Okay, first things first. We have to start at the very beginning with the foundation. Before an AI can go off and write a beautiful poem or analyze a ton of data, it has to learn. But how does a machine actually learn? Well, it mostly comes down to a few key methods. Let's start with the two big ones. First up, you've got supervised learning. And honestly, the best way to think about it is like studying for a test with flashcards. The AI gets a bunch of data that's already labeled with the right answers, so it learns the connection between the question on one side and the answer on the other. But then you've got unsupervised learning, which is way more like being an explorer. The AI is just given this mountain of data with no labels, no answers, and its job is to find interesting patterns all on its own. Kind of like an astronomer finding new constellations just by looking at the stars. And then there's this third really cool approach, reinforcement learning. This one is all about trial and error. Just imagine you're training a puppy. When it does the right thing, it gets a treat. That's a reward. When it does the wrong thing, well, no treat. Over time, the AI, or what we call the agent, learns how to get the most rewards by picking the best actions. It's exactly how AI has gotten so ridiculously good at things like playing complex games or controlling robotic arms. So, those learning methods, that's our foundation. Now, let's build the engine on top of it. Because these fundamental techniques are what we use to train what is, without a doubt, the most game-changing piece of AI today, the large language model. A large language model, or LLM as you'll always hear it called, is the absolute powerhouse behind tools like ChatGPT. The easiest way to picture it is to imagine a brilliant librarian who has literally read, a huge chunk of everything ever written on the internet. And it hasn't just memorized it, it's learned the patterns, the grammar, the context, and all the little subtleties of how we humans talk. It's just staggering. And that's the real magic right there. It's not just about knowing a bunch of words. It is all about understanding context. An LLM gets that the word bank means something totally different if you're talking about a riverbank versus an investment bank. And that deep, deep understanding of context is what lets it create text that feels so real, so human. Okay, so having this incredibly powerful engine is one thing, but an engine is kind of useless if you don't have a steering wheel, right? You need controls to tell it where to go. And in the AI world, we've got some pretty sophisticated controls for guiding these models. So this brings us to prompt engineering. You can think of this as the art and science of asking the perfect question. See, the way you phrase your request, the specific words you use, the examples you give it, all of that can completely change the answer you get back. A great prompt engineer is like a great movie director, guiding their incredibly talented actor to give that perfect, award-winning performance. Now, let's talk about a major upgrade to those controls. It's called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or you guessed it, RAG. Remember our super librarian? Well, RAG is like giving that librarian a live, instant connection to a whole other library of specific, trusted, and totally up-to-date books. So now, before it answers you, the AI can first go look up the latest, most relevant facts from that external knowledge. This makes its answers way more accurate, timely, and grounded in real data. It's a game changer. All right, we've covered the foundation, the engine, and the controls. But every single engine needs fuel to run. For AI, that fuel is data. And this is where things get really interesting, because the data is both its greatest strength and its biggest weakness. It's the AI's Achilles heel. There's a principle in the world of AI that you absolutely have to understand, and it's this. Biased data leads to biased outcomes. You could have the most powerful, most advanced AI model in the universe. But if the data you feed it is biased or just plain wrong, then the results you get will be biased and wrong too. It is the ultimate garbage in, garbage out problem. And this really gets to the heart of the data dilemma. the performance, the reliability, and maybe most importantly, the fairness of an AI model is a direct reflection of the data it was trained on. So if that data reflects our own historical biases around race, gender, you name it, the AI won't just learn those biases, it can actually make them worse, amplifying them and creating some really harmful results. So let's do a quick recap of our AI building blocks. It all starts with the foundation, how the machine learns. That foundation is used to create the engine, our powerful LLM. Then we use the controls, like prompting and RAG, to steer that engine. And the whole system runs on fuel, the data, where quality and bias mean absolutely everything. And that brings us to the big question, doesn't it? We've seen how all these technical parts click together to build these mind-blowing tools. But as this engine gets more and more powerful, our responsibility to make sure its fuel is fair, accurate, and unbiased becomes more important than ever. The technology is here. Now the real work begins, figuring out how we, together, can fuel it responsibly.